What's up, guys? Brian Danuff here, and wanted to come on today to recap the first two games of the 2024 World Series and look ahead to Game 3, 4, and hopefully 5. As I said in my last video, was really trying to go into this series optimistic, hopeful, believing in this team, so much so that I ended up at Billy's for Game 1, right outside Yankee Stadium, that massive bar, if you could even call it that, more of a club. My first time there, actually, went with a few coworkers, and it was an electric atmosphere, and it felt great watching that game on that big screen, looking at Garrett Cole just dominate through those 6 innings. That Giancarlo Stanton home run that he hit, just a majestic shot. Beer was flying everywhere. We were all jumping up and down, and I can't even really, it's still hard to even talk about because it's so classic 2010s, 2020s postseason Yankees. Finding the most painful, the most annoying way to lose these games. They did it again in Game 1 with, whether you want to talk about Boone going to Nestor instead of Tim Hill, and I fully agree, and everyone who doesn't, it was so clearly the right move to go to Tim Hill in that situation and not a guy who hadn't pitched in 5 weeks. But sure enough, Boone did that. You can talk about Gleyber Torres botching that ball, that throw in from the outfield that allowed Kike Hernandez to go from second to third, which helped the Dodgers get on the board, or tie the game rather, make it 2-2. And then Oswaldo Cabrera kind of diving for that ball in the 10th inning that he didn't really have to dive for. He could have gotten it out of that. It's just these little mistakes, and then obviously Nestor just throwing a first pitch fastball, missing the target, Freddie Freeman hitting a walk-off grand slam. Just awful. When you have a game in your hand like that you are on the verge of winning, and to just have it be taken out from under you, that is the worst way to start a postseason series, let alone the World Series, let alone a series that everyone is watching, everyone has eyeballs on, and you couldn't have started it worse, and you hope that in Game 2 they would turn the corner. But Carlos Rodon made a few bad pitches to a few Dodgers hitters, and each one took advantage of them. This isn't Cleveland, this isn't Kansas City. The Dodgers are a team that will capitalize on every little mistake you make, and it's why the Yankees need to be playing their cleanest brand of baseball right now, and they're not. And at the plate, the Yankees were absolutely embarrassed by Yamamoto last night. Couldn't get anything going, besides Juan Soto, who hit that solo home run. Credit to him, credit to Stanton, as I talked about with Game 1. They're still, for the most part, getting the job done. Stanton also drove in a run last night in the top of the 9th when the Yankees rallied when it was too little too late. It doesn't feel, the Dodgers have this 2-0 lead, but it does not feel like the Dodgers are winning this series as much as the Yankees are currently losing it. And I know that's a very cliche thing to say, but I do think it's accurate. I still don't think the Dodgers are that much better than the Yankees, if they're better than them at all. Especially when you look at their starting pitching depth, which we'll get into, which could play a role later in the series, obviously, as we get starting right away with Game 3 tomorrow night. But really, the first 2 games, and it really sucks to say, but we can talk about matchups, we can talk about all those other little moments, but from a macro level, this is a lot of this right now is on Aaron Judge. Like it or not, and I love the guy. I absolutely love the guy. He has brought me more joy as a 26-year-old baseball fan than I ever thought was possible. Like, he makes me feel like a 10-year-old baseball fan again, watching Derek Jeter and A-Rod. When Judge is on, he is the best player in baseball. He is the best hitter in baseball. And there's no pitcher that can get him out. And that's what makes what he's doing right now just so frustrating and depressing, because we know this isn't who he is. This is not who he is. But for some reason, when the lights are the brightest, man, he right now he folds, he chokes, and it's awful. It's not what you need out of your captain. You need your captain to be that steady presence who at least is getting on base, is at least driving in runs. I'm not asking him to hit 450-foot moonshots every time. Really, literally, just get a walk, just get on base. And he's struggling to do that. He's swinging at everything. He's striking out at a super high rate. And he looks like he did when he first came up, in the sense that, like, obviously the power threat has always been there. And he became this complete hitter the last few years, but early in his career it was, yes, he can hit a lot of home runs, but he strikes out way too much. And that's what I'm seeing right now. I'm seeing 2017, 2018 Aaron Judge. And it's really as simple as, will he wake up? Will going back to Yankee Stadium for Game 3 make him adjust, feel comfortable, and will he take advantage of pitches that he gets to hit? Because, and that's the other thing too, the Dodgers don't want to face Giancarlo Stanton right now. They'd rather face Judge. They'd rather give Judge pitches to hit. So if he can capitalize on that in Game 3 and going forward, I do believe he could flip on a dime, and this series could flip on a dime. The Yankees could come back and tie the series up, maybe win all 3 at home, and go back to LA leading 3-2. I don't know how likely that is, but I think if Aaron Judge performs, it's certainly much more of a possibility. You also, of course, have to factor in Shohei Ohtani's injury.
Squints grew up and married Wendy Peppercorn. They have 9 kids. They bought Vincent's Drugstore, and they still own it to this day.
Then, as we start to talk about Game 3, 4, and 5, sort of, specifically, this is where the Yankees' advantage can come into play. That they had going into the series, their starting pitching. Obviously, the Yankees pay Cole and Rodon $60 million a year combined to win World Series games like these, and they didn't. Cole pitched great, Rodon did not, but they lost both of those games. However, they still do have 2 other starting pitchers that they're going to turn to, and the Dodgers have one. It's Walker Buehler. In Game 3, it's going to be Walker Buehler versus Clark Schmidt. And Buehler has been, he's not the same guy he was a few years ago. He's not this sort of ace kind of pitcher anymore. He's really struggled, and especially in the postseason. And Clark Schmidt had a pretty decent outing in the ALCS against Cleveland. He kept the team in the game, and I think he'll do that again tomorrow night in Game 3. And then Game 4, the Yankees have Luis Gil, who also pitched pretty decently in Cleveland, and the Dodgers will probably be throwing a bullpen game in the World Series. That shows you how thin their pitching staff is in terms of the rotation. Yes, they do have a lot of arms in the bullpen, and they have shut the Yankees down for the most part this series. But it's not going to be easy for them. This is not, they don't have this, ace pitcher going for them in the Bronx at all. And they don't. And the Yankees don't either, but at least they have competent starting pitching that they can at least expect 4 or 5 innings out of. I don't know if they can say that about Buehler, and obviously they can't. No pitcher's giving them that kind of length in Game 4. And then you have Game 5, it'll probably, it'll be Cole versus Flaherty again. With the Yankees having home field advantage, and with all of that considered, with the pitching, and Ohtani maybe being hurt, and the wild card with Judge, but there's a lot of reason to believe the Yankees can get back into this series. And still have a chance to win it. And that's why I am not as maybe negative as I even thought I would be after last night. But again, it all hinges on Judge. It it pretty much does. Could they win a couple games with Judge still struggling, but Stanton and Soto still performing? Maybe. And it'll also take, the rest of the lineup to at least do something, contribute something. Don't just be automatic outs. It's been really tough because once you get past Stanton in the four hole, the rest of the lineup, you're just waiting for Glaber to get back up at the leadoff spot. It's not going to be enough if Judge isn't hitting and just relying on Soto and Stanton. it's not going to be enough. Overall, and again, playing clean baseball, don't give them outs, don't make errors on the base paths, don't make errors out in the field. The Yankees have to really, play clean baseball, stay focused, and if they do, again, I think there's a decent chance this series, at the very least, goes back to LA. I don't know. Those are just sort of all my thoughts on everything that we've seen the first two games. I think the Yankees will win a couple games in the Bronx. I think they will. I would love them to win all three, and they should. They have a lot of things going for them, and the Dodgers have some question marks when it comes to Ohtani and when it comes to the pitching staff. And it's just going to be a matter of Aaron Judge showing up or not. And if he does, there is still a great chance the Yankees can take home their 28th World Series. So we'll see what happens. The 2-0 deficit is not great, but the comeback has happened before. I think it's something like 80% of teams who go up 2-0 win the series. So their backs are certainly up against the wall, and they can't lose Game 3. But if they win Game 3, they can build on that, take it one game at a time, and we'll see what happens from there. So let me know what you guys think. How are you feeling about Game 3 and beyond? It's not looking great. I won't sugarcoat it, but it isn't over either. So that's how I feel, and I'll try to keep the faith. I'll try to still enjoy. I mean, this will be the first Yankees World Series game at Yankee Stadium in 15 years, and the crowd should be electric. And we know how Yankee Stadium has been a huge home field advantage for them in recent years in the postseason. So I'm sure it'll be rocking. I'm sure I'll be staring at StubHub all day, and I might make a very impulsive purchase. We'll see. But for now, that's about it. Thanks for watching, guys. Follow me on Twitter, by the way, as well, at Brian Danoff, and subscribe if you haven't, because, who knows? You might see, a Yankees fan celebrating his team winning a championship, or a utterly depressed and broken man pouring his heart and soul out on camera and crying profusely. And either outcome seems somewhat entertaining. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Go Yankees.